Alright, hi everyone. I thought it'll be a good opportunity now to kind of discuss about the new variants that we're gonna get in the next 3 months, starting with the first one we have here, Red Rider. Some of you may already have used her and have her from the Battle Pass or from the monthly prize fight. Basically, Red Rider is a Fire Dahlia as a gold, and she has quite a unique niche that no other Dahlias have, or at least not easily, which is the ability to gain a lot of health back. Right, so her standard shots inflict wither and heal block for 15 seconds while near an opponent. That's pretty standard, that's pretty okay. But then it's her second signature ability that gives her an edge over the others with her unique ability to gain 50% of all damage inflicted is regained as health. So it's a much more powerful leech. So if you have Red Rider, I don't really know where she's gonna be placed. She's definitely not someone that you want to use when you want to deal a lot of damage. There are other better Dahlias to use for that purpose, but her unique ability in having this leech here allows her to you're probably going to use her in Rift against a lot of reflect damage, makes her a really good Rift candidate. She doesn't really deal as much damage. You probably want to build her critless as well, so that she can fight against some of the pain wheels while still using some of Dahlia's tools, notably Deadeye, Curse from Empower, and lots of her shots that allows her to be really aggressive. Of course, also the ability T-Slip to remove debuffs, that's quite useful as well. So you've got all this going on for Red Rider. Is she gonna be meta? It's hard to say. I think she's good though for what she does and, just gaining a lot of health back. But she is competing with the likes of Philia, notably also Blue Streak, which we're gonna cover next, which is a Diamond Philia, so it is harder to get. But she's a Philia that has access to Deadeye, which is kind of crazy. So Red Rider is kind of a budget version of that Philia. I think she's still pretty decent, but again, if damage is what you're looking for, Furmonger does the job better, Psychomancer does the job better, and both of them really likes crits. Red Rider, on the other hand, you probably don't want to use crits on her, which means her Death Mark from Prestige ability is probably not gonna be that useful. So overall, Red Rider is a nice addition to the Black Dahlia roster. I think she's more of a mid option. I wouldn't say she's the best at what she does, but she's still a good option for Rift battles. And yeah, I would say she's not a huge priority, but she is still pretty decent at what she does. So the next one, the diamond here we have next is Blue Streak, and I think Blue Streak is quite powerful. Her ability grants Deadeye and Haste while Philia has at least 95% health, and these buffs are removed when Philia's health drops below that threshold. And then when she uses a Blockbuster, she gains immunity, Final Stand, and Unflinching for 7 seconds, and also 3 stacks of Precision, but she needs to be in Deadeye. So basically, she needs to be in Leech for sure. There's no way she uses the first cut, impossible. You need that high health, and Leech can get you there really quick. I don't know what people say about Blue Streak, but for me, I think Blue Streak is a pretty dang strong Philia. I think she's possibly one of the best, definitely on par with Jin Frizz. Jin Frizz is all about that enrage, right? She just hits really hard. Blue Streak doesn't hit as hard, but she has so much more going on for her. For example, Deadeye and immunity on Blockbuster is huge. There's also the precision, but I don't think Philia can use precision well unless you're Windswept, where you get basically timeless precision. So the immunity, Deadeye, and the haste is definitely the 3 core pillars here of Blue Streak, and I think she's really strong for what she does. I would say she's the best diamond that we've seen so far in these 6 new variants. So next we've got Psykid, the new Umbrella. So her abilities are when hitting and attacking an opponent, gain Deadeye and inflict inverse polarity for 15 seconds each, and 100% chance to reset the timers of all Umbrella's buffs and all opponent's debuffs when the opponent bounces off the wall. So just theory-wise, from paper, this sounds like a really strong variant. Umbrella with Deadeye just covers up a lot of her core weaknesses. Inverse polarity, you probably won't feel it as much because it's such a weird debuff. You don't really use it too much, but the Deadeye though, and the fact that she gets it really fast and really easily is pretty strong. Her second signature ability is where she gets even beyond what she can do. 100% chance to reset timers of all Umbrella's buffs and the opponent's debuffs. That sounds really strong, but she needs to bounce off the wall. I don't really know how reliable that is, but just from playing Umbrella from the past, I think as long as you're able to corner the opponent, this should be done pretty easily. And I think she's one of the strongest, if not the strongest gold Umbrella that we have right now. Being able to reset these timers just from a bounce, I don't think that's hard to do at all. Tongue Twister almost always bounces the opponent off the wall, And then you've got Umbrella's dash attack when she's overstuffed as well. So there might be some overstuffed gameplay here going on. It's gonna be an interesting one to see how well she works, but she definitely has a lot of potential. And just on paper, she seems to be the strongest one we have in the 6 new release, in terms of the gold at least. And then we've got a new Diamond Annie with Starlight Rose. Her abilities is while Annie is alive, all teammates well-timed blocks remove up to 2 debuffs and grant barrier for 15 seconds. And then all teammates gain Enrage and Regen for 7 seconds each every 3 seconds while benefiting from barrier. This sounds like a really good support ability. I don't know when Annie started to become the support character with like Model Leader and now Starlight Rose. I thought that was more of like a Peacock kind of deal. Maybe this is just just another diamond, support diamond that we haven't really seen in a while. This diamond is just purely support. That's really interesting. All teammates well-timed blocks remove up to 2 debuffs. So it's a debuff clear, which is quite strong. And granting barrier for 15 seconds is also really good. This reminds me of Feathered Edges, which basically grants 3 stacks of barrier when you well-timed block. And she has seen some use in Rifts definitely, because she's able to, like, you know, fight against a lot of reflect and also heal herself from Fuqua's kit. Annie does not have too many healing. There's Saigon Beam, but I don't think that's really consistent. And that's where her second signature ability comes into play, where she can gain stacks of Enrage and Regen while those barriers are gone. Not gonna lie, the second signature ability sounds pretty crazy with the likes of like Robo Fortune variants, right? Robo Fortune variants can gain barrier quite easily. So I feel like there's some synergy there for sure. But for those who are not Robo Fortune, there's a way for you to get it from her first signature ability. This is a very, very solid support fighter. I could see this being quite strong in Rift, and I don't know how much of an impact she's gonna make. Maybe she's gonna make a lot of impact actually. She seems really strong. We've seen Denny use like Inner Pieces with Overclocked and X-Bot, and Starlight Rose can very easily replace Overclocked there as like another neutral variant that gives barrier. There's so much potential. I think she's really good. She's a really good support variant. I still prefer Blue Streak better just because more offensive, but as far as support goes, Starlight Rose seems really strong. I'm very happy with this variant, and I think she's gonna make a lot of waves in Rift battles once people get to use her and kind of understand where her synergy comes into play. Also, it works well with Rockstar as well, that also grants barrier. Solid variant. So the last goal we get is Final Fang, which is a Kakashi from Naruto palette, and oh my gosh, the art looks so good with the card pose with all the lightning. It looks so cool. Okay, so her abilities is when the opponent gains a buff, mirror one of their buffs and inflict curse for 7 seconds. Right, so she basically prevents the opponent from getting any buffs, and then 20% chance on hit while the opponent is suffering from a debuff to inflict a random debuff for 15 seconds. Right, so this is definitely the same debuff timer as Chaos Double, and we know how strong Chaos Double can be, mostly in prize fights. A Final Fang is not a guaranteed hit. There's a 20% chance on hit, so you'll probably be inflicting a much smaller number of debuffs. But Valentine has a lot of ways to deal multiple hits. For example, Checkmate Incision, and you know the triple counter venom combo with like her basic ground attack. It remains to be seen how much debuff she can actually stack. I'm thinking, you know, when I play Chaos Double, I can usually have like 3 rows of debuffs. Final Fang, because it's a 20% chance on hit, I'm probably gonna assume she can only deal like 1 or maybe 2 debuffs. She seems like a fun variant. I don't think she's gonna be meta defining. She's one of those variants where you kind of just play her for fun instead of playing her because of her unique kit. There's definitely some potential here, but if you want a Valentine that can inflict curse, Graveyard Shift is a much better option. And if you want a Valentine that can remove buffs, Silent Kill is a better option. So against those two, I think Final Fang is kind of in a weird middle kind of deal. So in terms of gold variants go, I think she's not super good. I could be wrong. Maybe in combination with Alter Ego for the easy debuff damage, there could be some synergy right there, but it remains to be seen. I think Final Fang overall is a cool variant. I wouldn't say she's mandatory or like a high tier variant, but she's definitely on the cool and fun side. It remains to be seen. Maybe someone can prove me wrong. Let me know. And finally we have Alter Ego, which is a new Fire Double variant. and Diamond as well. So while near an opponent and not blocking, inflict a random debuff for 10 seconds every 2 seconds. Let's be honest here, if you're using double and you're trying to inflict debuffs, you're probably going to go with Chaos to inflict more. So her first signature ability isn't very amazing or very good, I would say. It's probably not something you focus on. It's kind of like just there. If it procs, that's cool. But you're definitely going to focus more on her second signature ability, which is when she uses a taunt, she removes all opponent's debuffs, and for each debuff removed, deal damage equal to 25% of double's attack to the opponent. Opponents defeated while taunting cannot be revived. So she does have a high attack stat at 15k, so with that, I think that's about the same as Jawbreaker, which is really high. And combination with Chaos, of course, means she can just melt things just from her raw damage output. The use of a taunt here to remove the debuffs in exchange for dealing damage is quite an interesting one, and it's quite unique as well. I really like the concept of just having a button to press and then suddenly the opponent just dies and then they cannot be revived. That sounds like a quite unique concept. I don't know how powerful that's gonna be. Honestly, just slightly a bit underwhelmed with this variant, because let's be honest, if you're playing double, like a Jawbreaker for example, would have the exact same stats, and you're using Chaos, you're gonna melt opponents just by relying on Chaos alone. The second signature ability sounds a bit more win more. Like by the time you've inflicted like 10 or maybe 20 debuffs on the opponent, they're probably gonna be dying anyway in just like one more hit. So dealing the damage equal to double's attack to the opponent is probably not gonna do a whole much. So her unique niche comes on the next line, which says that opponents defeated while taunting cannot be revived. That's unique. Again, not sure how useful that is. We've got a lot of plenty ways to prevent the opponent from reviving. Squiggly's Prestige ability, for example, is a big contender for that because every Squiggly has access to it. It's quite easy to activate, and it's really just one button. There's also RoboFortune's BB3, which takes a bit more time and a meter to charge, so Alter Ego does have that to compete with. There might be some niche cases where she's might be useful. I would say if you're using Final Fang, you inflict a bunch of debuff, you tag an Alter Ego and just kill them with a taunt. That's probably the best synergy and best use case for Alter Ego, because if you're just attacking normally with Alter Ego, you probably don't need her abilities at all. As far as double variants go, Alter Ego is just another damage dealing variant with a slight twist towards the end, but it's nothing special. It's pretty standard. But again, there might be that synergy with Final Fang that carries her forward, or maybe it's a synergy with some other variants with debuffs, so she can just tag in, taunt, and suddenly the opponent dies. That's quite a powerful thing if that's actually something that's valid, and something that can save a lot of time as well in Rift, maybe. Although I'm kind of doubting it, but we'll see. Alter Ego, so as far as the Diamond variants go, I think she's the worst of the three, but that doesn't mean she's terrible. She's just might be a bit awkward. You know what? What if against Pinwheels, right? You deal a lot of debuffs through Final Fang against Pinwheels, and then you tag in Alter Ego, and then you just you taunt the opponent. Maybe the Pinwheel can just die because Pinwheels have low health, and it bypasses Don't Poke the Bear. Maybe that's a strategy that you can employ. That could be viable. But outside of that though, is it better than like using an Eliza against Pinwheel? Who knows? But it is an option. Overall, Alter Ego is fun. It's cool. There might be some interesting thing out there that makes it useful, but so far I'm a bit underwhelmed, if I'm being honest. So those are the reviews for the new variants. I think, as far as like, since these are like the first 6 we're going through, they all bring something new to the table, which is really exciting, because that's really what we want. Like, some of the variants may not be as powerful or as strong or as meta defining, but if it's fun, it's cool, I think a lot of people will like that. Blue Streak, for example, I think is the best one out of them all, just because aesthetically, with the new tech, the way how she transforms into gold, and then with her ability as well, that's quite strong. Personally, that's what I think. We need more variants like that. If we're getting those kinds of variants monthly, I'm actually quite excited. I think the Battle Pass and these 2 monthly fighters coming out is just such a good idea, and I'm looking forward to see more and the next round. So that's gonna be the end of this video. Thank you so much all for watching. Hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.